things are so dire for so many Americans in the United States right now that the IRS has reportedly confirmed that $1,390 stimulus checks for eligible Americans will be in the works. This is not in response to a worldwide pandemic like the last round of stimulus was over 4 years ago. This is not in response to some exogenous event that has come out of left field and blindsided people or the economy or the infrastructure. It is really not even aimed, and I'll read the article to you out of Yahoo Finance today, it's not even aimed at providing stimulus for the economy. Remember, the stimulus checks that were issued to people, through and after the COVID pandemic were intended to get people spending that money in the economy, right, to stimulate the economy. The purpose of this isn't even to stimulate the economy. It is by admission just to help struggling people pay their bills. So again, out of Yahoo Finance today, before I jump into it, please, if you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate you guys hitting the subscribe button for me. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. We are growing, so that would be much appreciated. So this Yahoo Finance article today says millions of Americans may be eligible for a $1,390 stimulus check by the U.S. Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service as part of a plan aimed to provide financial relief to low and middle income households. While rumors continue to swirl around a potential $2,000 check in August, the IRS has denied that it has any such payment planned, but has confirmed the legitimacy of the $1,390 payout, which it says is on track for low and middle income Americans. The eligibility criteria for the check follows the same income thresholds as the past stimulus programs, such as up to $75,000 in income for individual taxpayers and up to $150,000 for married couples and $112,500 for heads of household. The payment, it says, as always, is tax-free and will not impact other programs or benefits from other programs such as Medicaid, SNAP, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or railroad retirement. So things are so bad that, and again, $1,300 is, I'm not saying it's not a lot of money, but to have, let's say, or to believe, well, first off, what it signifies is the government understands how bad things are, despite what you see, paraded out, in the media every day, despite what you see in the stock market. Of course, we all know that these people are not in the stock market, okay? They're not able even to put food on the table. I'm seeing the same thing you guys are seeing. Restaurants in my area are packed, right? People are out spending. The shopping areas, especially the higher end shopping areas, appear to be doing just fine. It appears in discussion with my friends that are in real estate, other than commercial, the residential stuff in many sectors in my local area, things are moving, right? But again, it's so bad for so many that $1,390 is aimed at somehow getting them out of the hole. I hate to throw cold water on this, but that is not going to accomplish anything, and this can't continue, right? It can't continue. So what is the end result? Okay, maybe it's going to allow them again to maybe pay their rent for next month, or help pay their rent, or put some food on the table. But in some respects, it's just extending, let's say, the misery of the whole process. Again, I'm not suggesting, I have my own perspective on whether or not the government should be doing any of this, but I also see how bad so many Americans are in the country. I'm reading this data, looking at the data, reading these stories. So that is the situation. The first stimulus in over 4 years, and it's not stimulus for the economy. They're not going to have that. They're not going to spend that money in the economy. They're going to spend that money just to get by for the next round of bills or the next trip to the grocery store. On this same theme, Yahoo Finance story a couple days ago, 1 in 3 Americans say their financial situation has deteriorated in the past year. A new survey finds. This is the Yahoo Finance Marist Poll 2025. And the key takeaways: nearly 45% of adults describe the cost of living in their area as not affordable or not affordable at all. 1 in 3 Americans say their financial situation has deteriorated, and financial setbacks are most, again, common among lower income individuals and older generations. Nearly half, or 45%, of adults report their income just about matches their expenses, while 3 in 10, listen to this, 30%, say their monthly expenses exceed their monthly income. And so again, as I've been sharing in recent videos, what happens when these people no longer have any credit left on their credit cards? What happens when they can no longer access, buy now, pay later, and all those things fall into default, and they can no longer avail themselves of those other options? For some that have actually own a home and are draining the equity from their home, what happens when that cash out refi money is gone? Then what do these people do? Household energy, auto insurance, housing, and restaurant meals were among the expense categories that jumped the most in price. It says older generations, 39% of Gen X, 35% of baby boomers, and members of the silent greatest generation are more likely to report that their family finances have worsened over the past year than members of Gen Z, 29%, and millennials, 29%. There's also, as we've discussed before, a clear income gap. 47% of households earning under $50,000 report worsening finances, compared with 27% of higher earners. Nearly 1/3 of respondents say their expenses, again, I talked about this, exceed their income each month. So it's actually 1/3, that's 33%, right? While 27% report their income consistently exceeds their expenses. The statistics are not good. And there was one more quick data point out of a Study Finds article I saw, another study they did, and we talk about, heard this often, that no one has even $500 to cover an emergency. If you're in that category of 30% of those where their expenses exceed their income, they don't have anything. They don't even have one expendable dollar in case something unforeseen happens. 62% of Gen Z have no emergency savings, nearly double the rate of baby boomers. 51% of Americans would use a credit card for a $500 emergency, with usage jumping to 70% among students. Of course, we know the students are broke and they don't have any good job prospects, and they're going to keep getting worse, unfortunately, as AI continues to take over job sectors. 2/3 of consumers have 6 months or less in savings, with Gen X the least prepared, and 76% lack a credit card set aside just for emergencies, relying instead on everyday use cards. So there is your dose of economic reality for the end of the week. I apologize I didn't get a video up yesterday. I was taking a deposition all day that I thought was going to be just a few hours, and it went much longer. The day kind of got away from me. That is what's going on. So, it's just important for everybody, especially if you're not in these categories. I kind of, put a plea out there now, a lot, saying let's do our part to try to financially or educate and help, these people about, financial education, and trying to make better decisions when they get themselves, let's say, a better job, when they get themselves, pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and they have a few dollars, so they don't squander it, okay, and do stupid things. We all can do our part, because Those of us that are not in these categories of struggling people, we're very, very fortunate. Okay, so count your blessings. With that being said, again, please subscribe to the channel for me if you're not subscribed. Share the videos. Feel free to leave your comments and suggestions. Give me a like if you enjoy the content. And with that being said, I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.